Okay, let's talk about order of operation. So in math, there are different operations that we can perform. We can multiply two things, right? And 2 times 3 is 6. We can divide two things, which would be 2 over 3. We can add two things, which would be 5 here. Or we can subtract, and it would be -1, right? But in a situation where I have a combination of operations, right, as opposed to only multiplying or only dividing, now I'm doing a multiplication and a division, or maybe I can add a subtraction to that, then the question is, which one should I do first? Which do we prioritize, and how do we determine which one to prioritize? Because based on which ones I decide to the sequence of operations that I follow, I will get different answers. In order to make sure that we have an answer that is universally correct, we came up with a specific order to follow. And the order that we follow is essentially called PEMDAS. And I'm going to use, I'm going to color code it. So P is the one with the highest order, so we always do P first, and then followed by E, and then we do M and D together, and then we do A and S last. So let's talk about what each of this means. So it's called PEMDAS, right? P means parenthesis, but you can also use it for grouping. So as long as something is grouped together, you have to follow that order and do that first. So you might see it as GEMDAS as opposed to PEMDAS sometimes. And then E is exponents. So anytime you have something in exponents, you do that after parentheses. Then multiplication and division. In this slide, you can see that I had them at the same color because we do them together from left to right, whichever comes first. So again, M stands for multiplication and D stands for division. And then the next order is addition and subtraction. Again, we do them together from left to right, depending on which one comes first. Okay, now let's do like some example problems. Okay, so let's just write it here. We use PEMDAS. So we essentially just go from P to S and we do it in the order. So according to PEMDAS, the first thing that we see here is parentheses. So we go back and look at our problem. Is there anything in the parentheses? Yes, we have this in the parentheses. So we're going to go ahead and do it first. So I'm going to rewrite everything else because it's not their order yet. And then I'm going to go ahead and do this. 5 plus 1 is 6 and 6 plus 3 is 9. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in there. Now we've done parentheses. The next question is, what's the next one? The next one I see here is exponent. Is there any exponent in my problem? Yes, we have it right here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. 6 squared is essentially 6 times 6, which is 36. And then I'm going to rewrite everything else. Next, so do I have any other exponents? No. So I'm going to stop. Yeah, I see students sometimes ask questions about this. This is a parenthesis, right? Why aren't we doing this bit before we do the exponent? Because this parenthesis is essentially multiplication, right? Since there's nothing to do inside this parenthesis, I could replace this as 2 times 9 because this parenthesis is changing to a multiplication. And then I did exponent. The next question is multiplication and division, and you just do them left to right. So obviously I'm going to keep this as 36 minus 2 times 9, 18, and then I only have one thing left to do. So we're just going to do that. So something that I see I've seen students do is do something like this, right? And then do 36 minus 2 times 9. And then do 36 minus 2 first, which would be 34, and then multiply that by 9. This would be incorrect because it's not following the right order. So essentially the reason why we have this order is because there's so many sequences that we could follow to solve this problem. But in order to have a universally correct answer, we came up with PEMDAS so that if we follow that same sequence of order, then we have one correct answer. Let's do another problem. So we have 8 plus 6, and then we can divide this by 2, and then put 1 plus 2 squared, and then let's subtract this by 3. Again, we're following PEMDAS. So we start with parentheses. Is there anything inside the parentheses? Yes, 1 plus 2. So I'm going to rewrite everything else because I can't do them yet. And then I'm going to go ahead and do 1 plus 2, which is 3, and then there's a square. Is there anything else inside the parentheses that I can do? So inside this parenthesis is only 3, so I can't do anything else inside the parentheses. So inside the parentheses is done. Now the next is exponents. Do I see any exponents? Yes, I see this. So I'm going to go ahead and do the bit inside the exponent. Since I'm not doing anything else, I'm going to rewrite them. Only do the bit in the exponent. So what's 3 squared, which is 3 times 3? That's 9. And now 2 is being multiplied by 9. So do we have any other exponents? No. So then we're done. Then the next bit is multiplication and division. You do them from left to right. Okay, so if I go left to right, which is this direction, I see a division first. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. It's going to be 8, and then 6 divided by 2 is 3, right? And then times 9 minus 3. Now, is there any other multiplication divisions? Yes, I see this one. So I'm going to go ahead and do 8 plus 3 times 9, which is 27 minus 3. And now we're going to do addition and subtraction, also left to right. So it's going to be 8 plus 27, which is 35 minus 3. And my final answer is 32. Okay. Let's go ahead and do one more example. So now we have 10 minus 9. Let's put this in parentheses. So it's going to be 10 in parentheses minus 9 plus negative 6. Something like this. Now the question is there anything inside the parentheses? We have 2 parentheses. So we're going to go to the most inner parentheses, and then we're going to work our way outward. So starting with the innermost parenthesis, is there anything I can do inside this parenthesis? There's only negative 6 inside this parenthesis, so I can't really do anything inside this parenthesis. So now we're going to go to the outer parenthesis. In the outer parenthesis, I have negative 9 plus plus in parentheses negative 6. So I can do something here. I can take this 2, this plus, and multiply it by negative 6. So it's going to become negative 9 minus 6, right? Because this is plus times negative 6. And now I can do my outer parenthesis, which is going to be negative 15, right? Now, is there anything left to do inside the parentheses? No, right? So I can just write this as a multiplication if I wanted to, but it's basically 10 times negative 5, which is negative 50. Sweet. So that is it for order of operation. JK, so it's actually 15, so 10 times negative 15, which is negative 150. Okay.